In a small suburb where everyone knew each other and secrets rarely stayed that way, lived a family that seemed idyllic to all the neighbors. Little James adored his mother, Elizabeth, a woman with a kind heart and a soft smile who was always a support to him. But there was one other person in their home, Uncle Peter, Elizabeth's brother, who had recently moved in with them. Peter had always seemed strange to James. The man spent a lot of time in his room, from which strange noises sometimes came, and his gaze was cold and detached. His mom said that Peter was going through a hard time and they needed to be nicer to him. James tried to understand and accept his uncle, since his mom spent so much time trying to help him. However, soon strange and terrifying events began to happen in their small town. People were disappearing, and no one could understand how it was happening. The police were powerless in the face of these disappearances, and rumors and fear began to spread among the residents. James noticed that Uncle Peter was becoming increasingly nervous and aggressive. The boy began to suspect that something was wrong with his uncle when one night he saw Peter carrying large black bags out of the house. Trying to solve the mystery, James followed his uncle one day as he went into a dark part of the woods surrounding their house. What James saw in the woods was forever etched in his memory. Peter had dug a deep hole and was going to hide something in it. The boy couldn't see what it was, but when his uncle left, James walked closer. In the pit were the belongings of the missing people. Shocked, he ran home to tell his mom everything. When James returned, the house was quiet. With anxiety in his heart, he went upstairs and found the door to his mom's room ajar. What he saw inside made his heart freeze with horror. Elizabeth was lying on the floor and Peter was bent over her with a knife in his hand. His uncle's eyes met James's and the boy realized he could never escape this nightmare again. The last thing James remembered before the darkness consumed his consciousness was his mom's face, filled with love and fear at the same time. He didn't understand why Peter, a man who seemed to be part of their family, could commit such a horrible act. James woke up in the hospital surrounded by police officers and doctors who told him he had miraculously survived. Peter was arrested, and the secret he had been hiding for years was finally revealed. It turned out that Peter was connected to a number of unsolved crimes in the city. Elizabeth had always suspected him of something sinister, but her love for her sister kept her silent. James will never forget the night his world came crashing down, but he also realized that his mother did everything she could to protect him. Over the years, James learned to live with the tragedy, realizing that the most important thing is to remember his mother's love and sacrifice. He dedicated his life to helping children in similar situations and became an activist for the rights of abuse victims. James' story was a reminder that even in the darkest of circumstances, it is possible to find strength for good and change.